Hello again. I'm continuing to talk about Prof. MTH's video entitled Human Sacrifice in the Bible. I've already discussed the issue surrounding Jesus and Isaac, and now what I want to do with this video specifically talk about Jephthah. Now, I actually was planning on making a video about this in the very near future, as well as addressing some other issues such as the skeptics' claims of genocide in the Bible, issues surrounding 1 Samuel 15 and so on. But I thought I would go ahead and deal with Jephthah now since it's been brought up, and so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm also going to put my picture of my sunset back up. So, okay, so in regards to Jephthah, these questions must all be answered yes in order to accuse God of accepting human sacrifice, as described here in Judges 11:29 through 40. First of all, did the Spirit of the Lord inspire Jephthah's vow? Number 2, did Jephthah make the vow knowing a human might be involved? Number 3, did Jephthah actually sacrifice his daughter? In order to accuse God of accepting human sacrifice, all 3 of these questions must be answered in the yes. I'm going to take them one at a time. Did the Spirit of the Lord inspire Jephthah's vow? My answer is no. Let's look at the passage. Judges 11:29, beginning in verse 29, says, Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah, and he crossed Gilead and Manasseh and passed through Mizpah of Gilead, and from there he advanced against the Ammonites, and Jephthah made a vow to the Lord. Now, I'm going to stop right there. To answer this question, I think it's important that we take an opportunity to look at other passages where it is said that the Spirit of the Lord influenced some person to do something. Now, there's some other passages, and I'm going to list those passages in the description box, beginning with Judges chapter 3, verses 9 through 10, Judges 6 through 34, Judges 6:34, Judges 14:6, Judges 14:9, Judges 15:1, 1 Samuel 16:13, 2 Chronicles 20:14 through 15, and Ezekiel 11:5. I encourage you to stop the video, take a look at the passages, and then restart the video. Now, if you've already done that, as you can see from the passages, what action or saying is inspired by the Spirit of the Lord is detailed immediately after it is said who the Spirit came upon. Therefore, if the Spirit of the Lord inspired Jephthah to do anything at all, it was to go traveling around recruiting his army and to go to war with the Ammonites. The fact that the vow is reported separately indicates that it was not something done under the Spirit of the Lord at all. So basically, right there, that ends it right there. The critics can't pin this one on God. Now, moving on to the second question: did Jephthah make the vow knowing a human might be involved? Typically, Christians and fundamentalists would tell you no, but they give a specific reason. But I'm going to actually give a different reason. Typically, the answer is no, not because fundamentalists often appeal to Jephthah's ignorance in this case, and note the fact that houses in biblical times typically had a stockyard with animals that surrounded the house, so Jephthah could very well have supposed that an animal would be the first thing to meet him. I say no for a different reason. I say no because of 2 key pieces of biblical data. Number 1, literal burnt offerings had to be male. Leviticus 22 verses 18 through 19. Obviously, Jephthah's daughter is not male. Number 2, burnt offerings were always associated with condemnation and evil, not thanksgiving and vows. Even the one non-literal use of it in Deuteronomy chapter 13 verse 16, in which a town is offered as a burnt offering, involves abject judgment and condemnation, not at all in view in the Jephthah passage. Okay, so I've answered no to both questions so far. Now we're going to move to the third question: did Jephthah actually sacrifice his daughter? I say no. Now this, of course, is the final and ultimate question, and many commentators think so, but I believe the text points in a different direction. Jephthah's daughter spent some time in the wilderness, bewailing the fact that she would always be a virgin and never have children. This by itself, to me, sounds like temple service. It's either that or the kid here is wrong-headed or has some peculiar priorities. In fact, in Prof's video, he talked about how odd this was. And I saw a number of comments where people were talking about the oddness of this. Here's Jephthah's daughter in the wilderness with her friends, boohooing the fact that, Daddy's going to sacrifice me tomorrow. I can just hear the friend saying, "How awful," but the daughter responds, "Yes, but the worst part is I'm always going to be a virgin." I mean, there's just something about it that's strange. Okay. And then, of course, there's the issue with Jephthah's own misery. Now, his misery would have been perfectly understandable if this is temple service, because as an only child and given to the priest in this fashion, Jephthah's entire estate would have gone to someone else. As important as this was in the ancient Near East, there should be small wonder at Jephthah's upset, his misery. The vow basically cost him everything. It cost him his daughter's life with him at home, and it cost him his whole estate. He lost any chance of giving his property to a true descendant. So I conclude that while Jephthah was not particularly a bright fellow, he neither promised nor committed to human sacrifice in this instance. Now I surmise what we have here is a bit of literary trickery here. When you look at the story, there's an abrupt ending to the account, and it's non-specific. It says he did to her as he vowed. Well, that's perhaps designed to shock the reader and make them wonder. Did he in fact sacrifice his daughter as a burnt offering, or did he not? This would be in perfect keeping with the purpose of Judges as a mirror of Israelites' moral anarchy in this period. The reader is shown in various places how bad things got, and this story easily encourages one to wonder just indeed how bad did things get. It is yet another case of the Bible forcing people to take a long, hard look at themselves and to determine the good and the bad and the ugly. Now, to summarize what I've stated here, first of all, literal burnt offerings had to be male. Leviticus 22, verses 18 through 19. Jephthah's daughter obviously was not. Number 2, human sacrifice was strictly forbidden. Again, look at Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 31. I quoted that passage in the last video. It seems pretty simple to me. It appears that God restricts this practice, and not because of the gods that are worshipped, but because of what's done, because of the actual practice itself. And it should be pointed out that we have no record of human sacrifice being practiced during this time period, or even even as bad as the time period got during Judges. This was not practiced by mainstream Israel during this time. The lament, the misery could very well have been associated with temple service. As an only child, again, Jephthah basically, no matter what, he's basically given up everything he owns. We have a very parallel case of something like this with Hannah and Samuel. She takes a vow and offers her son to the Lord for all his life. 1 Samuel chapters 1 and 2, and such vows did not allow the person to be redeemed with money. Leviticus 27, 28 through 29. Again, burnt offerings were always associated with condemnation and evil. And one other point, and I brought this up in the other video, and that is, firstborns were the firstborns of Israel, the firstborn males of Israel were to be given to God, but they were redeemed by a substitute sacrifice of an animal. Genesis 22:13, Exodus 13:13, and Exodus 34:20. So, what I have to conclude from this passage is that Jephthah does not know what a burnt offering is, and that he is meaning an irredeemable vow as a thanksgiving offering, along the same line of Samuel and Hannah. This is the only way to make sense of all the particulars. And it's important to remember Jephthah's home life was not the best one in the world for getting a biblical education. He was the son of a prostitute and driven away from the house by his brothers. And that's it. That's all I got. Thanks.